Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to day two of our 1 week long online faculty development program titled ChatGPT 5.0 for academics. I welcome back all the participants to our today's session. So, before we get started with today's discussion, yesterday we have seen a short overview of how the present version of ChatGPT, that is 5.0, is different from its previous versions. What are some of the add-ons that they have done to it? What are the updates? What are the upgrades, etc. And today we're going to start looking at how we can utilize the platform itself in its present version to look at various different aspects, facets, and various methods and means in terms of our teaching, learning, pedagogical process. So with that short insight into our yesterday's discussion, we'll get started with the today's demo. We'll follow the same pattern as yesterday. I'll be doing my short demo or some short examples that we're going to be taking up in the first half of the session. And then in the last 10 to 15 minutes, we can have some questions, some discussion in and around the things that we have discussed. So before we begin with today's session, yesterday, we stopped at this part right here where we were customizing our platform. And today we're going to be starting that. And we're going to ensure that we try to customize ChatGPT as much as possible so as to ensure that we get the maximum output out of it. So let's go ahead step by step. Just in case anybody has joined us today for the first time, the personalization or the customization option can be found here in the profile icon. And if I click on this, it is available under the personalization tab. Now, the first thing we need to do is enable this option and save it. For most of us, by default, it will be enabled because it's not usually disabled. And then we have to select the personality type. We have already discussed all of this at length yesterday, so I am not repeating that. It basically refers to the style and the tone through which ChatGPT will respond to our queries or prompts. So let's go with Node this time. Let's see how it gives the output. This is the most important part where I can add custom instructions. Let's first give it some of the qualities that are available out of this list, which is direct, forward thinking, pragmatic, then maybe out of the box. I think these few are okay. And as we saw yesterday, the options have started to disappear from here and instructions are being added in this box right now. After this, we add our own twist to this. So now we're going to design a prompt wherein the prompt or the instruction would enable the present iteration or version of ChatGPT so as to respond to our queries in the most accurate manner. Now, this can be done in a lot of ways depending upon our preference. We can do custom instructions in bullet points. We can do it in few words, or the best way would be to directly simply draft a short passage and to give all the instructions there one by one. So we'll start out with that. We're going to give it the first instruction, which is going to be this. So our first custom instruction tells ChatGPT that you are supposed to now be an expert in the areas of academics and higher education. Now, generally with prompts can be found of two categories broadly. There are other subtypes. We will be talking about that. But broadly speaking, prompts are of two types. One are what we would call as direct prompts, which we normally use where we directly give a task or a question or an output that we want from a chatbot, and we expect the chatbot to understand and learn from it and to give us a response directly. However, there is a second category of output, which are called as multi-layered prompts. We are seeing an example of that now, where we don't directly start out with the primary or the broader goal or objective that we have, but rather we first established what we would call as the liminality, the boundary, or the context within which, or within the framework of which the chatbot has to operate. That does not necessarily mean that the chatbot would follow it completely, but it serves as a guiding principle or as a guiding format by the means of which the chatbot will try to restrict, or ChatGPT will try to sort of mold its responses on the basis of this information. So we have started to build up the context here, and we'll go ahead with this, and we'll build upon this now. I'm going to say that you are now an expert in academic and higher education. Your primary task and role is to aid me in my planning process and execution process of teaching and learning pedagogy, comma, resource creation, comma, creation of materials, projects, ideas, critical analysis, and feedback. So after building up the initial context, what we have done here is we have asked the bot to understand what its primary role and function is. So that building up of the boundary or the box which I was talking about is referring to this part, where we have restricted, or we have tried to tell ChatGPT that it has to restrict its role within this format or within these steps only. Now let's go ahead a little bit more and make it slightly more specific. You are to always ask for the user input and refer back to that part of training data. I think somebody has raised a hand. No. If anybody has a question, I would request to please post it in the chat box. I'll take it up at the end. So I hope my screen is visible, by the way. Please let me know. And I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes, visible.
Yeah, it's audible, sir.
Thank
It's
you.
visible also.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. After opening GPT, I'm not getting the options here like general notification or personalization. It's just chat GPT and it's
Have
asking
you
to
have you logged in into the platform?
which platform?
Have you logged in inside ChatGPT? Have you logged in? Are you able to see your profile right here with your
No,
email? You have to log in
no.
first. You have to log in first. You can log
Do
in.
I
Yeah.
have typed the chat GPT 5 also, but it's the same old one. It's coming.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is once you go to the website, you have to log in first. Then you will be able to see the. In fact, let me show this just a second. So this is the screen you're getting by any chance?
What can I help you? It is gone already. I
Yeah,
typed something.
this is what you were getting, right?
Ye-
Screen right
Yes.
here. You go into
Nee,
login.
what's the plan today? Something like that I got.
Okay. So what
Uh,
you do is you go into login, continue with
Yeah,
your
I
account.
continued with
Yeah.
Google. I just then sign in with my
I am
email.
opening up another free account that is not paid. Just a second. Just give me a moment. I need to do the two-step verification process because it's an incognito tab.
Okay.
So now that we are here, We can go to this part and go to personalization. This is the free version. This is not the paid version. It will be available in personalization under this tab right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So going forward, I think I lost my screen. Oh. No, thankfully, just a second. I think I lost my screen. I need to retype the entire prompt. So just give me a moment. So this is what happens when you switch the tabs. So just to, I think this is a good insight there. Forward thinking, pragmatic, encouraging. What else was there outside the box? Let me retype the prompt. You are an expert in academics and higher education. Your primary role is to assist me in planning and creation of teaching, learning, pedagogical tools, ideas, projects, then resources, materials, and assessments. So this is where we were. Now, after this, the next part, as I was saying, was to make it more specific. So what I had typed was, you are to ask for user input at every major point before the output. And this next step is very important because we have established the context, we have created the framework. Now we have to see if we can try and connect this framework before we use it to the already existing base of knowledge that ChatGPT has. So we just need to add one more line which says you are to refer to that part of your training data and database which was about academics and education. Lastly, let's try type this also so that we reduce that possibility as well. Don't hallucinate and give false information. Try to be as actually correct as possible. So as we can see, the coming back to what we were discussing yesterday, as opposite to the previous versions of the GPT 5 allows us to have a pretty large chunk of custom instructions, which now have been added, which says personalized settings ready for future conversations. And we can actually make this much more longer, add in as much information as required to ensure that we get the best result possible. Now here, we have to give some information and context about ourselves. We have given the context to the bot, but the bot also needs to know a little bit about the user. Not any major information, but something which gives the bot an idea as to who is the person who is giving the input. So let's just add these parts right here. I've just added my role or occupation. Now more about you. Now here we have a free hand, just like custom instructions, whereby we can add as many things as we want. So interest, values, or preferences to keep in mind when the bot answers to our query. So let's add that. So this is the first line that I'm writing. The responses can be as accurate as possible, mostly having to do with higher education and academics. Now, there are two ways by the means of which we can write more about you. One is I can give out a set of instructions or information about me as a user, which helps the chatbot understand my requirements in a better way. But a more better version of this is to actually connect the custom instructions to the more about you section so that it can leverage both the parts together and give us the best output possible. So we have to basically reinforce the context in this section also as much as possible. So let's do that. I, as a user, would like to take the help of ChatGPT to gain the or to get help in the creation of best educational resources which are accurate and contemporary. So in this manner, we can add our preferences. Let's add one more last part. The style and tone of the output should be formal and professional. So these are some of the instructions which I have created on the go. We can actually spend some time on this. My suggestion would be to create a set template which works best for us and to add that here before going forward with using the bot directly. So after that, we keep the rest as it is. All the options are turned on and we click on save. Before that, we just check this part right here and we click on save. So now this version of the chatbot is ready to sort of respond to my queries as a user, particularly in the area of teaching learning pedagogy. That's because that's our topic for today. So let's just save this one more time. I'll exit the screen. And now we are back to ChatGPT. And now let's start with seeing some of the outputs as to whether the output is actually better or not. And we'll try it across three different levels today. We'll look at auto, we'll look at instant, and we'll look at thinking mode also. So instant is supposed to be the most easily accessible mode, which if I switch back to this part right here, we can see which is our chat GPT normal model that we get access to. So great for everyday tasks that we see here is similar to instant answers, wherein so not exactly same, but instant is where it relies on that part of the model to respond to our queries. And then we'll see what thinking also looks like. So let's start off with something pretty simple. We'll look at a one single line prompt first across all the three different verticals or the three different types of model. And then we'll see what the complex prompts look like. We'll actually go through an entire exercise of creation of all the major aspects of a topic or a course when we are starting it for the first time. So let's say that I am asking for a suggestion of for some major topics for a course on business communication. So as we can see, it has given now we can start to see immediately that there is a major difference. In fact, let me first paste this prompt here also. So as we can see that not only the style of the output is different, but also so is the list of topics that we are getting. If we compare them side by side, most of the times what we would notice is that this particular output would be much more specific pertaining to the input that I have asked for. So as we can see, it has actually gone ahead and it has divided the topics into various different modules. And you can see that there is a sort of an internal consistency in terms of trying to give us a curated and not only curated, but also an organized list of topics on the basis of the customization that we have done. And it then asks me a follow-up question. Would you like me to now A, turn this into a list of detailed course outline with learning outcomes, B, reframe it as a syllabus structure used, and see the level of customization that we are able to do. It automatically says suitable for UGC or NAC documentation with units or hours breakdown. Versus this, let's see this one now. Would you like a semester long structure or a short term certification course? We can see the change in the level of the follow up questions that it is asking. And why? Because in the custom instructions part, I have added one section where I've said that it has to ask my permission, not permission, but my input before giving any major output. Plus, since we have also specified a course on business communication with all the customization that we have done in terms of the target audience, the primary role and function that the bot has to perform, we see that it tries to stick to that, and it tries to give the tonality or the tone of the language to be much more professional, and trying to sort of, creating it in academic tone, as we would call it. This is also good, nothing wrong with this, but you can see that it's pretty brief. So that's one major difference right then and there. And just given the fact that we are just using the instant model, we have not even switched over to auto or thinking right now. So we'll keep it to instant. We'll see the difference now between this and when we look at a detailed prompt. So now, the moment when we talk about teaching learning processes, the first important step is what we would call as creation of a course, that is content creation for a course material, course outline, etc., along with a set of suggestive assessments, a set of resources to read through, etc. Now we can do it step by step also, where we follow each step. Let's try that first, and then we can do it in one go as well. So we give it an instruction like this: create a 2-unit course on the topic of business communication for UG students. And we're going to try the same prompt parallelly in the other version also, and we'll see what differentiation it gives. So as we can see, it has started to give us an output where it says that if we even carefully read the output language that it is using, it's a draft structure for a 2-unit undergraduate course on the said topic, designed with a practical, forward-thinking, and interdisciplinary approach. These are the qualities, by the way, just to recap, which we have added in the custom instructions part. So it has tried to actually take them into account and add the criteria here while designing the topics, as we will see when we go ahead. So as we can see, we have a course title, some basic description format that would be there, duration, level, prerequisites, etc., a vision of a course outcomes, and a unit-wise distribution of the topics, along with the duration for the said unit in further division into subtopics also. Along with that, we also have a set of suggestive activities that can be done for these units and to how to take that unit forward. Same goes with unit 2 also. There is a suggestive evaluation pattern here as to what kind of assessments or what category of internal assessment can be done, some detailed examples of how to do it, and a set of weightage criteria and some suggestive readings. And there's a follow-up section where it asks me the following things. Would I like to create a detailed week-wise lesson plan? We'll come to that in a few minutes. Assessment rubrics and activity sheets, a PPT template and reading back suggestions, or an AI integrated version with ChatGPT and Canva exercises. Now let's take the same prompt. We go to the next version, that is our regular normal versions we have, and we see the output here. So we see that the format of the output looks similar, but it has started to give us a more tabulated version of the same, where the topics are mentioned very briefly, and some basic examples of key skills and activities that can be done, a very short list of assignments, and the overall outcomes, which would be ideally on the top, but they've come at the bottom. Some suggested weightage, which is again very brief, and then it does not give me a ready to read like a list of references here. Rather, it says that if I ask for it, it will give the same, which clearly shows that this particular version of the model, with all the tweaks that we have done, is much more powerful by some minute changes that we have done so as to give us the exact output that we are looking for. Now, let's see a much more advanced version of the same. So what we do is we make a few changes. Let me first just copy this prompt. This will be useful as we go ahead. We go to auto and let's go to a new chat. We paste this prompt right here and we expand the prompt now and keep just to sort of reiterate this. The output that we will get now would be in the context of the changes that we have done in the personalization tab. So what we say is create a 2-unit course on the topic of, let's remove the word topic. We'll add a much more important keyword like course for, we'll modify this a little bit. MBA program with COs, or let's say it fully, course outcomes, comma, program outcomes, program specific outcomes along with their mapping in a tabular format in a 3-point scale. Let's change this a little bit to a 4-unit course. Also add suggestive assessments and rubrics for each assessment based on the revised Bloom's taxonomy. After that, also create a set of important resources. Let's just add the term additional here. Important additional resources like YouTube videos, podcasts, PDF blogs, case studies, etc., along with their web links. After that, give me a set of detailed unit-wise sample descriptive questions or a question bank, which are divided into 2 categories, namely open-ended and close-ended questions. Finally, also suggest some good, let's not ask for books. Finally, also at the end of the course, suggest some major critical areas of for major trust areas of further research and discussion. So this is our prompt. Now, as we say, this is a comprehensive curriculum design task, and this is where it follows the exact output which I have given. We'll come to the output in a second. Let's see what happens if I paste the same prompt right here. So as we can see, the first major difference is it does not ask for any user input. It automatically starts to design the output for us. The output will be quite good because the prompt itself is very detailed, but the same can be, but it will still give us the output as it gave us to early, as it gave to us earlier. There will be some brief information that is given. As we can see, it's pretty sparse. Now what we do is we come back here and we can see that it is asking us some questions. It is asking me to confirm a few parameters. So the design is maximally aligned to my framework. So should I assume this is a 4-unit full semester MBA course? So I'll just keep on answering the questions one by one. I'll just say yes for the first one. For the second one, it says, what do you prefer the emphasis to be more on corporate communication and managerial writing? So it is moving beyond my prompt. It is trying to ascertain and trying to sort of determine in which direction the pedagogy should focus on. Should the pedagogy be focusing more in terms of the designing and the creation of the course on corporate communication and managerial writing side, or on strategic digital and intercultural business communication side? Let's go with this example. Randomly selecting this. I'll simply copy paste this right here. Then third is a question on assessment. Should assessments include practical components in addition to written work? Yes, include both. Number four, institutional mapping style. Do you want me to use a standard COPO PSO table and base mapping on reverse Bloom's taxonomy? I'll say yes. And then we can see that it is going to generate all the four that we have asked for. It also finally says, would you like me to assume the focus on modern AI augmented and cross-cultural business communication? Yes, we'll just sort of reiterate and reinforce that also. Keep the focus on that. However, don't lose out on the originality of the core domain. Now, as we can see, it will be start to seeing we'll start to see a very different kind of output, not just in terms of format, but in terms of language, in terms of the depth of the same. It gives us a proper output in terms of the exact template of a course that has to be created. We have a course objective coming up here with a set of COs, the course outcomes, with the corresponding Bloom's level given right here. We have a set of program outcomes that are there, program specific outcomes, the table for mapping, the course structure, which is unit wise, and it should have learning outcomes also. Assessment plan, what the assessment is. We can see how detailed it is and how different it is from the previous version that we've created. Assessment type, its mode, individual, group, oral, written, weightage, Bloom's level, indicative criteria or rubric, suggested reading material. These are web links for various podcasts and YouTube videos, as I asked for, blogs also, case studies, unit-wise question bank, which is pretty small right now because we have not created it separately, but it, as I said, indicative somewhere in my prompt, so it is doing that. Major thrust areas for further discussion. And then comes the main part. Would you like me to create this as a formatted Word file with editable tables? Let's see that. I can also add a COPO visualization matrix and sample rubric chart. Yes, do both. So in this final step, what will happen now is it will automatically switch over to its code writing platform. By the way, this can work on the free version also, in case anybody has that question. I just have to say it more clearly. Give this to me in a downloadable doc file. So it will switch over to its code writing platform, and it will analyze my prompt and its own input. And we can see both at both the places, same things are happening. And at the end of that, what we would get is it would go outside of this working environment, and we would get a web link like this, which I can download, and all the formats, everything that was here would be available for my reference in this document itself. So this is what it looks like. Some formatting can still be done further. I can ask it to create proper tables for my files that it has created, let's say the mapping part or the part for assessment, etc. Now, this will work even more effectively if we break each of these steps down one by one. So first I create a course outline, then COs, POs, mapping all of that, copy pasting it and then putting it in a Word file, or else doing it step by step and then downloading it and then putting it in one file together. Because there it has more space to give the output from. And again, keeping in mind, we have switched over to the auto part. We have not enabled the full features of this. This is just on the basis of the strength of the prompt only. And the same thing will be happening here also. I will be getting a link. This is right here. So we should be able to see this document also. It will take a few seconds to open. Yeah, this is the one. So this is the one that we created using the previous version. As we can see, there's some differentiation that we can see right away in terms of the parts that it has downloaded, etc. So this is what it can do with this detailed prompt that we have given. Now we can make this even more comprehensive just by doing a few tweaks. I'll copy the same prompt. I'm going to a new chat now. I'll paste this prompt here. Simply, what we do is we turn on the web search option. I'll do the same thing in this version also. Copy paste the prompt. Click on more, turn the web search on. And just add one single line. Refer to the web for similar courses on the topic. Don't copy paste any ideas from there. Just use it for reference and learning purposes. Also refer to the model UGC LOCF curriculum for the SIG. Let me just iron out some of the errors because I'm typing a little faster. So yeah, now I'll just add this prompt here as well. And I'll just say one more thing. Give me a list of the websites you visited at the end under the title references. Also, the tables are not created. The tables that you created in the previous chat were not formatted properly. Ensure that all the borders are there when I download it. Let's copy paste this part from here and I'll paste it in this section also. So I think we are good to go. Let's see what happens now. We have done 3 changes. I have enabled the web search option. I've asked it to refer to any pages or places where it is able to find some similar documents or some references or some ideas that it can take, not to copy from there, but just to use it as a reference, also to refer to any model curriculum that it can find. And we also want to see what are the places it is visiting. So I've asked for a list of reference websites plus the formatting of the tables. We'll let it run and let's see what happens. So first we can see it is searching the web. We'll get this started also. We could see that it was referring to the LOCF document. So as we can see, the output has started to come and we should be able to see the final changes. We can see that this is slightly much more detailed as compared to previous output. And it says this, it has not created the complete version. It says that if I'm comfortable with this draft, then it will proceed for creation of further resources, unit-wise descriptive question, major thrust areas. So I've also asked in the same chat so as to let me download it or as the doc file also. Let's say a clean Word file only. I can customize it further for any specific university template header or anything like that. Let's say doc format only. And now I think it should start generating. There we go. Okay, so it is saying that it will create the link in some time. And once it is available, it will give me an update once it is ready. This one, however, should be ready to go automatically. This is the novel version that we are using. So this is our output right here. Okay, it is not able to give me the link directly. Let's try to generate it directly first. Yeah, I think I need to refresh the chat a little bit. It has gotten confused slightly. This version is ready to go. If you can like, I can export this into a single Word file. Let's try that. Let me download this as a doc file. So now it should, oh yes, I have to turn this off first. Because in order for it to write the code, the web option has to be disabled. Now it should be ready to write the code for the same. Yeah. This is our output after giving the detailed prompt. And at the end of both of these outputs, we should be having a list of websites that it has referred to. So these are the websites it has received. I'll just say, and now same thing should happen here as well. So this is one additional element, which is I think important to take a note of. Sometimes this doesn't work. If the web feature is turned on, we have to disable that first in order for the web links to work properly. And here, as you can see, it is asking me follow-up questions further. If I want to make some changes to it, I can do that. So this is pretty good, even with the normal free version as well. And this is the version with the free plan where we just get a few details, not the complete document. Whereas here, this is the normal upgraded version that I'm using. We should be having a complete document for our reference. Yeah. And these are some references it has referred to. So these are some of the things that can be done by slightly tweaking the platform a little bit. This is very basic changes that we have done. We have just enabled it to access the web. We have not done anything else. We have not switched over to any higher models also right now. Neither have we switched to the legacy models. We have simply just created a detailed prompt by giving a proper context and combined it with the customization part to get this output that we are looking for. So just a second. Yeah. So we tomorrow, when we go ahead with this discussion further, we are going to be exploring all of these models. I will start from 03, we'll go to 04 mini, then we'll go to 4, 4.1, and then we will switch over to thinking model where we go to the deep research option and we see how the output looks there. And from there, we will slowly start transitioning to resource creation, creation of activities, worksheets, and assessments, etc. So I think we're exactly on time. Thank you so much for listening to me patiently. I hope the session has been helpful. And any questions that we have, we can take them up right away. I'll look at the chat box also. Let me just stop sharing my screen. We have about 10 minutes with us. Please feel free to